Recently, I went to an awards presentation by the Association of Latin Entertainment Critics of New York, which is the oldest among the journalistic institutions of Hispanic art and entertainment in the United States. Here is Fernando Campos, one of the founders of the Association of Latin Entertainment Critics of New York, ACE, where he is currently president.
In English?
Yeah. I'm so glad to see you after so many years. But we always have you present because you are an icon, really, for the Latin community. And we all love you. We all love you, and we admire for the work that you have done throughout the years. We started in 1967. We are on our 49th year without interruption. The ACE was founded in my apartment. In my apartment on 92nd Street and Broadway, the house on 92nd Street. It's beautiful that throughout the years we have had the backing of the Latin community, especially the artistic community. And we're delighted that today we celebrate in the 49th year of our activity without interruption.
Why did you pick Miriam Cruz this year?
Because Miriam Cruz is the first actress that ever got the Best Actress Award from the ACE, and this is 49 years ago. Time flies, but our heart is in the same place, and we all love you people for the work that you've been doing, making the community a wonderful place, a wonderful culture that preserves our values.
You know, I've earned from you, thank God, 18 awards. I received 18 awards from you.
Beautiful.
From your group. I'm proud, I'm happy, and it's a blessing.
And I think I want to take this opportunity to invite you to be part of our organization on the 50th anniversary, which is going to be next year, of course, and we will want to have you there.
Thank you. Before you leave, your brother, RAFAEL Campos, is an icon.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about his career.
Well, I tell you, he was a wonderful brother, and he made a lot of movies in Hollywood with Marlon Brando, Glenn Ford, a lot of big stars, and he was a product of New York. He was discovered by Richard Brooks, who was the director of MGM, and he picked him for one of the leading roles in Blackbird Jungle, which was a classic in the movies. And his last movie, because we lost him a quarter of a century ago, was also under the direction of Richard Brooks.
Let me tell you, Miriam Colon told me that he helped her career.
He was the one who gave her the first opportunity in Hollywood to work in Hollywood. As he was starring, my brother was starring in Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, and he picked her to be his wife. Yes, and he was great to me. And when I made a lot of trips to Hollywood when he was there, and he was fortunate because he was one of the first Latinos that really worked steadily.
Broke the barrier. Broke the barrier.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you, Fernando.
Well, thank you.
Now I'm looking for my good friend, actress Miriam Cruz, who's receiving an extraordinary award for distinction and excellence.
I'm very nervous because my life in the theater is longer than my speech, which is going to be 5 minutes. I mean, I've been acting for 55 years, and I'm going to do my best. I feel honored. Really, it's a privilege that I've been doing what I like.
All your life?
All my life since I was 10 years old. I've had a good life, Gilda. There's nothing I can say. I'm happy. I wish that others would follow with the passion that I've had for the theater. And that's all I wish them to have, the passion, so the creativity will be born.
What's the advice for the younger people?
The younger people, they have to love it and really stay at it. And even if they fail, get up and continue. But only if you have the passion, you'll be able to do that and continue with what you love. Bello.
Miriam Cruz. hace ya varios años.
Conozco personalmente, pero tu mensaje está muy relacionado a lo que yo acabo de parir, que es sobre la pasión del teatro. ¿Dónde está? Y sobre el espacio que necesitamos para poder crear. Soy una persona bendecida por haber recibido tanto de la vida. No tengo ni un arrepentimiento ni una queja, porque el universo me lo ha dado todo. Ha sido un regalo, o muchos regalos que he recibido con los brazos abiertos. Me han caído del cielo. No lo busqué, sino me buscó a mí y cayó en el recipiente perfecto. Todo ha sido prácticamente, o parece fácil, incluyendo tu de grande por mi pasión del teatro. El teatro es muy serio para mí. No es hacer un papel cualquiera y treparme y verme linda, bonita, con mis pestañas postizas. No, nada de eso. Es una labor muy ardua. Nunca he hecho un trabajo en miras de un reconocimiento o un premio. Perdónenme, tengo una pared que se llama la pared del respeto, llena de trofeos. Y eso para que me mantenga clavada en la tierra. Porque no es el trofeo, a pesar de que los admiro y los recibo con mucho cariño, porque un dulce nunca mata. He entendido a través de los años que el teatro es mi religión. Religión porque nos liga al público y a los actores. Pero para mí...
I then called Miriam Cruz at home. I wanted just to talk a little more about her career, and here she is. Miriam Cruz, Colon. I want to tell you first that I love you.
It goes both ways.
Because you, let me tell you, you not only are a great actress, you're a great person, mommy, wife, daughter, and all those things that make you a star in this world, and you are a star.
Well, I don't know about that, but I know that I'm a great person. God made me good, and I strive for betterment of Miriam.
Yes,
all my
yes,
life,
you do.
all my life, all my life.
Mm-hmm. When I introduced you as Miriam Cruz Colon,
Claro.
I want to make a statement about your husband.
Thank you, Gilda, because I do believe, I guess we're so similar in that sense that I do believe that life is eternal and that Oscar is happy.
I've shown some visuals of your ACE award. It's not the first time you get an award from. Mention that you were the first recipient of their award.
It was 49 years ago. So, I did a play called Las Pericas for Spanish Repertory, and it was the first play that they had produced. And I won as Best Actress. The production won as Best Production. René Bush won as Best Director. And I think Saldivar won for something else. I don't remember. But it's been 49 years ago, Hilda.
But let me tell you, you are all pioneers in the theatrical Spanish movement in New York City.
Well, I think we started a movement. We really did in the 50s when there was a great exodus of Puerto Ricans coming to New York. When I came here, that I was 15 years old, I saw that there was a theater movement in diapers, and I joined that. I went to classes. I was lucky enough to take some drama lessons with someone that was a playwright and a writer, a playwright and a director, and he recommended me. 2 weeks after I started taking drama lessons to a director from Spain, but he was a North American person, and I got the part. That was, I think it was 1957, 1958. You
were also doing radio. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I I started doing radio when I was 12 years old in Mayagüez, Puerto Rico, Hilda. I was in a group called El Programa del Abuelo that we did improvise, whatever. They gave us a topic and we improvised on that. We read the letters from the fans. And we were teenagers. We were 12 years old.
Then, when you came to New York, you also bumped into the radio. Tell me about that.
You know what? That is the right word. I bumped into it with a friend. I was in high school, the last year of high school here, and I went with her to visit a radio station. There was a group rehearsing, and the leading lady was sick. I just passed by and I stood at the door and I asked Ceron, what is this? And he said, this is a drama group and we have a radio program called El Suceso de Hoy. I said, oh, I did radio in Puerto Rico. He said, you did? Do you mind reading this? And I read. He said, you stay. And I stayed there for 3 years.
Now, this is all God sent. It has come to you. You didn't even look for it.
No, I did not. Hilda, I've been given everything in life. As I said at the ACE Award, I have no regrets, no complaints, even though I realized soon that if you take this job, acting, you have to be responsible, you have to do your work, you have to be committed, and it's not an easy job. But somehow, if you believe you do all that, the path is easy. Things come to you. When you do the right thing, Hilda, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yes.
God takes care of it. The universe takes care of it. And that's what happened. I stayed there for 3 years. And meanwhile, I was doing plays at on 46th Street and 6th Avenue with Miriam Colon's group that it was called El Teatro Arena. And I did my debut there in 1957 or 58. You know, I really don't remember. And then I did the second play. And meanwhile, I read a newspaper called Show Business that announced agents and the casting that was going to happen the following week. I went to an audition and I got cast in something called In the Summer House by Jane Bowles, that she was a very well-known playwright. And I did that and I joined Equity with that play. There was a director in the audience. His name was Martinez. He came to me. He had just graduated from Yale. He says, Miriam, we're doing a play called, a Brazilian play called And the Wind Blows. I'm giving you the lead. And I just looked at him. I said, of course.
Look at the way it came to you again. Miriam,
Again. Well, listen, doesn't stop there. There was what was his name? My goodness, there was, what was his name? A critic from the New York Times. He came to see the play, gave us a good review, and he personally sent me a little note, which I was surprised. I didn't know what to do at that age. Do you answer? What do you do with that note? Not only that, on opening night, a lady came to me, well-dressed, tall lady, and she says, hello, Miriam, I'm so-and-so, and I would like to represent you. In my mind, I said, represent me for what?
Amazing.
Well, I didn't know that they had casting agencies, that you needed an agent. I was a virgin in that area. I was so naive, Hilda, that I said, thank you very much. Never called her back. Would you believe that my first voiceover was done through her, that she called me, and I did...
In other words, she insisted. She insisted,
and I did a voiceover that they paid me. It was a PSA. They paid me $75 for that. I was amazed.
And you've been working, and listen, Miriam, you've been working ever since.
I haven't stopped.
We have to speak about your meeting, again, I believe God sent, with your husband.
Oh.
Because this is an important and key element in your development. Please tell me about that.
Well, Oscar and I, he was taking drama lessons with an Italian teacher, very well known in New York, and I was taking classes with other people at Herbert Berghoff. But then at one time, I went to take classes with another lady, and Oscar was there, but he was absent that day. The teacher says to me, Miriam, you have to bring a scene for next week. I said, okay, this is the person that I want you to call and bring the scene. I said, okay, what's his name? She says, Oscar Colon. I said, okay. I called Oscar, and he had a wonderful voice. A wonderful voice. And I explained to him, and he said, we'll meet on 50th Street on Broadway at the NBC studio. I think it was 5:30 on September 29th, 1959, Gilda.
You remember.
I remember because that started everything in my life. This young man comes, and he was a little late, and he did not apologize. I thought he was rude. So anyway, he says, where do you want to go? I said, well, there's a Hector's right here. We could sit and have some coffee, and we did. And through the night, there was something magnetic about Oscar. His mind, his attitude. He was so special. There was something in him that I have never been able to decipher, that he was older. His mind, he was an older soul. And I said, oh my God. And then I wrote on my servilleta, how do you say servilleta?
Your napkin.
My napkin. I'm going to marry him.
You wrote that down.
I wrote that down. I still have that in a Bible someplace. And 4 years later we got married.
How many years together, Miriam? How many years together?
Well, 52 years married. He went into the Army in 1961. He came out in 63, September 63. And we got married in December 22nd of 1963. And we were together, and we agreed on everything. It was, I had a vacation with Oscar. Oscar never stopped me from doing anything. He said he did not believe in that. And he never did. Once I remember I was going to play a prostitute on 42nd Street, Intart Theater, and the director, the night before the opening, he says, Miriam, do you know that there is not a sex scene here? And I said, Machado, I'm not for that. I don't think I'm
No.
No. And he said, well, talk to Oscar. They knew each other. So I spoke to Oscar, and he says, Miriam, I never stop you from doing anything. You do whatever you're conscious. So I did the scene. It was with some adjustments, of course.
Of course. Tell me about the children first.
Well, the children, Oscar was the only child. I come from a family of 3 kids, and we had the most wonderful childhood ever. My parents were very close. We went to the movies on Wednesday. We went to church on Sunday. We went to the park. I didn't meet Oscar. He's the only child. He didn't have a happy childhood. He comes from a broken marriage, and I came from a happy family. So when we got married, I know that Oscar wanted a large family. And I said, I'm going to have as many kids as God sends me. Would you believe that we were married for 4 years? I wasn't getting pregnant. It was fine. I went to the doctor, and it was me. I had a little problem that it had to be fixed. And after that, I gave birth to Oski de la Fe, and then 2 years later I had Miriam Esperanza.
Your son is an actor, isn't that correct?
He is an actor, and it so happens that he's completely bilingual. He does work for the sports stations. He does instantaneous translation. And that it came from Oscar, because Oscar, my husband, he did so many voices through the years that I still get a lot of residuals from all the voices that he did.
That your husband did?
No, he did. He did a lot of voices. I'm telling you, Oscar was a wonderful mimic. He could do voices. Well, my daughter, it so happens that my son studied in Spain, and he came home with a Spanish accent. I said, what's the matter with you? Anyway, my daughter, she didn't feel comfortable with Spanish. I would talk to her in Spanish. She would answer me in English. And
interesting.
Very interesting. She studied at FIT. She has 2 degrees, and then she met her husband, and she's been living in Miami for almost 17 years. And she worked with big designers. But right now she's raising 2 kids. They're 12 years old.
I met them, and they're both happy kids, and they love you.
They are.
They are so proud of you. Now listen to me. Tell me about Oscar's plays, please. Plays.
Well,
yes.
Oscar, when I met him in 1959, the next day, when I saw him the following week, he had written a little poem for me.
Oh.
a poem for me. So I said, oh, you do this? And it was kind of cute. It was only 4 lines. And he says, I love to write, but, I just do it for fun. And that was that, 1959. In 1961, when he went into the army, because he had so much time, he started to write. And from there, he developed many, many plays. One of them called Soldiers of the 117, which was the group that he belonged to, 117, and he changed the name to Howard. A wonderful play that Gilda, I cannot tell you publicly what happened. Somebody stole the play.
Right.
And they made it a movie. And somebody very important gave us a call because they had heard the reading. I said, somebody stole your story. It was about a murder in the army anyway. So that was many years ago, and they made a movie. Oscar and I never saw the movie because Oscar was he was never violent. He let things go. I mean, he didn't bother with things like that.
He was forgiving. He was very forgiving.
He was very forgiving. And after that, he wrote, that was in 1982, they did a reading, and then they did another production called Welcome to Margaret's World that had to do with the great artists in France.
How many
he has about 20 plays. He did something that I have not read that he wrote before he died, Joaquin Guerra. He had something called Doris, that is a play that I love, that I reviewed because we worked together on that play. I would like someone to pick that up because it's about a millionaires here in New York. Anyway, he did the interview. He did El Señor Presidente and his biographer. He did something called Listenings, a Morning with Maria Irene Fornes, and they're going to publish that play in a book with another play.
Now listen, I saw you. A reading. You directed a reading.
Yes, I directed Siempre en mi Corazón that he wrote in 1989. It's a play in English. Oscar wrote in English. I mean, when we met, he would talk to me in English and I would answer in Spanish, and it was the funniest thing you could ever hear. We did it for years. He was learning Spanish and I was learning English. So, Siempre en mi Corazón, Forever in My Heart, it's a play about 3 sisters. And somehow I have the feeling that the play has to do with his mother. And it so happens that Siempre en mi Corazón won awards. In 1994, he was recognized. They did a production, and not only that, at Inter, a beautiful production. They published his play in Barnes & Noble, published with other playwrights, and there were about 10 or 12 playwrights that were raised in New York. So they were sort of New Yorkers, and it was called Nuestro New York. And then after that, in I'm very bad with dates, in 2003, I think they gave him an award with Ola. Ola gave him an award.
When did he pass?
November 1st, El Día de los Santos. He selected a wonderful day. November 1st, 2015. It's a year and a half.
Your life has changed a lot since his parting. But I know you're picking yourself up. Tell me.
I am. I've been in a vacuum. I've been floating. I've been reading a lot about how to be a widow, what to do. But guess what?
How to deal with grieving.
All the grieving. I went to a Catholic group meeting about grieving. I've been trying to pick up, Miriam.
Yes, and you are.
Well, you know what? I rejected the first few months, the first 6, I rejected a lot of things. But I'm beginning to learn how to live by myself and not depend on anybody, because I did depend a lot on Oscar, Gilda.
Yes.
I did. And I'm beginning to do things.
You're getting out of that grieving state, and you may do a couple of plays. You have a play lined up, I think.
Yes. I have something. I have a class because this is my life. I need theater. It's my oxygen. It's my life.
Give me some advice for the new performers, for the actors.
Oh my
goodness. You are a teacher. You are a pioneer. Tell me about it.
Well, I did some teaching, drama teaching for Inter, for teenagers years ago. But I never considered myself a teacher. Well, what I was saying at the Life Achievement award at ASE this past April, it was a message to the new generation of actors that are coming from South America, the Caribbean, Latin America, and they come searching for their dream. Life has taught me so many lessons about acting. I mean, first of all, you have to do what is right, to do what is correct. You have to prepare, and you have to have passion for what you do, whatever. If you want to be a secretary, you have to love it with your heart. When you are doing a character and you confront an obstacle, after you've done the preparation, you've done the investigation, and you don't have an answer, and that happens a lot, you have to stop, take a break, relax, pause, and the universe will do the work, and in a magical way, you'll find the answer, Gilda.
That's a beautiful ending to this conversation. Listen to me. I want to thank you for your friendship, and we work together, and you're so patient and happy. You know what? You're a happy person, Miriam.
Well, yes, Gilda, they used to call me at the programa del abuelo Sonrisita because I was born happy.
You always smile. You bring joy into the room, and that carries over in your acting.
It's a gift, but let me tell you,
it's a gift.
This is a mutual admiration society because I really admire you so much. If anybody deserves what you have done, it's you, Gilda, because you're also into the metaphysical, you're also very spiritual, and you have followed that in all the work in your books, which I have read. So,
that's so sweet. I want to remember Oscar Colon with happiness and spiritual joy, and applauding his work and your work forever and ever.
Thank you, Gilda. May God bless you always and your family, and I'll be forever grateful. Thank you, Gilda.